So again, prayer is what we can't get tired of. Prayer is always needed. And prayer, and any time is the right time for prayer. I'm going to close with this, the story of a little girl who went to worship one Sunday. And while she was there in worship, she heard the minister proclaiming that whatever your problems are, you just need to tell the Lord about it. And let the Lord respond and let him address and let him bless you in your situation. Well, this little girl heard that, and she said that I need to let the Lord know what's going on. And so the little girl left worship service, and she went home and she began to pull out a paper and a pencil, and she began to write. She wanted to write a letter to the Lord so she could let him know what's all going on. And so the little girl wrote the letter out, and she said, Lord, my family is going through a rough time now. We are poor. She said that we don't have no food to eat. Would you help us? She said that we have no heat in our house. We have a fireplace, but we have no wood for the fireplace. Could you help us out? And she said that my grandmother has been sick for a long time, that we can't even afford to buy her medicine, and she's getting sicker. And we need help for my grandmother. And so she wrote all that in the letter. She folded it up, put it in the envelope. She put her name on the letter. And because she didn't know the address to the Lord, she just put to Jesus in heaven. And she placed it in the mailbox. And so the next day, the mailman came through, and he saw the letter. And when he looked at it, he said, to Jesus in heaven. And he laughed. He thought it was funny. And so he went throughout his route that day, and he came in at the end of the day and went to the postmaster, and he said, look at this. Little girl wrote this letter to the Lord. What are we supposed to do with this? And he threw it on the postmaster's desk. The postmaster looked at the letter. She opened it up, and she read it. And as she read the letter, she began to start tearing up, feeling bad for the girl. And so this postmaster had connections. She knew the owner of a lumber yard. And she read the letter to the owner of that lumber yard. And he said that what I'll do is I'll get some wood and I'll take it by her house so they can have wood in the fireplace. But then that lumber yard owner said that, hey, if you don't mind, I know a physician. Let me talk to him. And he said, go ahead. And so he told the physician about what the little girl said. And he said, you know what? I want to help her out. What I'll do is I'll help to make sure that the grandmother gets her medications. And so I'll make sure that she gets all the medication. If she needs any more refills, I'll make sure to refill her medication for no charge. And then, he said, but now, the physician said, but I know an owner of a grocery store. Do you mind if I talk with the grocery owner to let him know? And so the grocery owner, he talked to the grocery owner, and the grocery owner felt bad too. And he said, I tell you what, I'll make sure that we supply and stock their cabinets with full of food and with meat. And so the little girl, she goes off to school, and she comes home after school. God, forgive me. Comes home from school. And as she's making her way up the street, she could see smoke coming out the chimney. But as she got closer, she could smell food in the house. So she ran through the door, and she could see that grandmother was up feeling good, and that food was being prepared in the oven. And then grandmother began to tell her, you're not going to believe this, but while you was at school, a guy came by, and he dropped off all this lumber. Not only is there more in the fireplace, but he put some on the back porch too. So we got wood to last us a long time. And he said that if we run out, let him know and he'll bring some more. Then he said after he left, then a person from the store came by and he brought all this food. And he said that if we need any more, just let him know and he'll bring some more. And then he said after that, a pharmacist came by and he dropped off my medication. And he said that if you need any more, just let him know. And she said, and the grandmother said, I don't know how all this happened. The little girl said, I know how it happened. There was nobody but the Lord. And she began to thank the Lord. Y'all, what I'm telling you is that we need to understand the power of prayer. Just informing and letting the Lord know what's going on. And the Bible lets us know that he can do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we can ask or that we can even think. But we have to be children of God to understand that God is powerful enough to deliver what it is that we are going through, to understand who we're going to, and address God properly. And God has no problem blessing his children.